Hi, and welcome to another video by Jimthecarguy. We're going to be replacing the front brakes on it, and I wanted to show you a couple of things we're going to do. First thing we do before you do anything is we want to get in here with a screwdriver or a pry bar or whatever, get behind the rotor, and then we're going to pry the caliper back into its bore. And just keep pressure on it very lightly. You don't have to pull too hard, and you'll see the caliper pushes back in as it's supposed to. Right? So now we know that the caliper itself slides the way it's supposed to. The sliders are both working okay. It slides back and forth. So that we're going to take off the bolts on the top right here, and basically it's just looks like a 14 millimeter, and you just take them off. And then we're going to unscrew them all the way out. We're going to reuse these, so don't throw them away. We're going to need to reuse them. All right, one thing you're going to do is you're never going to leave the caliper hanging by itself without supporting it. So I just want to go and get something to support it with. All we do is just take a hanger or whatever you have and just slide it through here and just relocate it up and out of the way, so that way it's not hanging by the cable here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the mounting bracket off of the steering knuckle. That can be pretty tight, so you probably need to use a fairly large ratchet. Most of the time it's a ½ inch that you're using on this one here. We're going to reuse those again, so don't throw them away. Take the mounting knuckle off. Remember what I was telling you about the, when you recess it all the way back in, the slide pins? That's these pieces right here. They have to be able to slide nice and easily. If they don't slide, then you're going to have to change the mounting bracket. But I'm going to show you how you grease everything up when you put it back together. But in the meantime, I want to show you how to get the rotor off the car. This rotor is a little different than most rotors, and I'm going to show you why. You would think that you just pull the rotor right off the car and it comes right off, that's it. But this rotor here is pretty tight, one because it's rusted on there, and the next reason is there's a little O-ring right here on the face that keeps moisture from getting into the back there. If you don't take this O-ring off, you're going to kill yourself trying to get that rotor off there, and it's not going to come off. Alright, so you have to pull that ring off. You just use a pick or a scribe, whatever you have to get underneath it, and we are going to reuse this, so don't throw it away. Now I'm going to show you how to get the rotor off the car. Obviously, rotors, if they sit for a while, they are pretty rusted where you can't get them off. And if you see, this is pretty rusty. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a hammer, and we're just going to tap it ever so slightly right on this top part right up in here. We're going to tap it right there while prying with the pry bar out on the knuckle. So you just tap it and keep pressure on here and tap it. And if you see what, you have to hit it pretty hard, but usually it'll pop loose. And the reason for that is because of all of the rust that's in the back of the rotor here. I'll show you on the face here. Okay, all this rust here. The rotor is actually rusted. The back of the rotor is extremely rusty here, where this was rusted onto the back over here. In this particular case, I'm going to be replacing these rotors. We're not going to be resurfacing them because you can see that this rust lip on here is significant, and it's going to kill the machine trying to get that rust out of there. So we're going to be replacing these rotors. So let me grab the new ones, and we'll come right back, and I'll show you how to put it back together. Okay. I just want to show you something that you'll need to do if you're going to be replacing it. You want to do it the right way. Most brakes do not come with a set of shims, but the ones that you can buy them that come with the shims, you're better off changing them because your brake pads need to slide on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this out, lay it over here, take this out, and lay it over here. What we're going to do is, you see this clip right in here? We're going to take this clip off and we're going to replace it with a new one. The reason you're going to do that is because these get very rusty here, and the brake pad itself needs to slide back and forth in there. So if this is rusty and the brake pad can't slide, they're going to stick and they're going to stay applied, and you're going to prematurely wear down your brakes. So we're going to change the hardware that goes into the mounting bracket, so we don't have that problem. Right? So you just took off your hardware. Always check in here to make sure there's not a significant amount of rust buildup inside here. If there is a lot of rust built up inside there, you take a file and you clean out the rust. You clean out the rust that's inside over here. In this case here, there is no rust in there, so we don't have to worry about that. Now we're going to take the... Hey, Mike. So now we're going to take the new hardware kit that came with it, and we're going to mount it into the knuckle itself. And basically it just goes in here like that and pushes down. I'll show you in a second. It pushes right down into the knuckle right here, so that way you have a nice surface for the brake pad to slide on. So we're going to change the other one now. Again, you just get behind it with a screwdriver. You just pry it, and it comes right out. And if you think you're going to make a mistake or be confused or whatever, putting it back in, hold it with one hand, bring the replacement in like this, and then you know it's going to go back into the mounting bracket the way it came out. All right, now we know this is nice and clean underneath here again. There's no rust in there. I can feel that. And then you just take this and you push it right in to here so that it's over the top of the knuckle, as you can see right here. Okay? Alright, so now we have the new hardware is on. We're going to take these slide pins here out. And this one here also, we're going to take it out. And then we're going to put a little bit of grease on it to make everything slide nice and easy. Same thing here, a little bit of grease on this one. And we put it right back in here. And it slides nice and easy as it's supposed to. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of this grease that comes with it now and put it right here where the brake pad is going to ride, so that it's nice and smooth, no binding, no sticking. All right, same thing here, a little bit of grease right on here also. Same thing. All right, so now we have we lubricated both of the slide pins, we changed our hardware, and we lubricated the hardware. Now comes time to put the brake pad back into the knuckle. Always check to make sure that the pads are the right ones. Line them up, make sure they look okay, which they do, and then we're going to put it together. The way I normally do it, you could do it in the car if you want, or you can just do it here on the bench. You put your brake pad in to the knuckle, and you just turn it sideways like that, and it fits right in as it's supposed to, and it slides nice and easy with the new hardware in there, which is really important. Without the sliding, you're going to have binding and it's going to be a problem. Alright, now we're going to put the inner pad in, and I'm just showing you this as an example. We're going to be doing this in the car, but I'm just showing you right now. Alright, and I'm going to take the inner pad And we're going to do the same thing. You put it into your mounting bracket, you turn it, and it goes right in just as it's supposed to. Alright, so now we're going to take this back over to the car, and we're going to finish putting it back together. Now before we put the rotor back on, we're going to make sure that the hub, we cleaned all of that rust off of there so it's a nice clean surface to assemble it. And what I normally do is I screw a nut, one of the nuts on to hold it in place while you're working. Makes it a little bit easier. Holds the rotor in place. Now remember we talked about this this O-ring here too. We have to put that O-ring back on there. And the way you do that is you just put it into the groove, hold it in place, and you just take the scribe or pick or whatever, and you put it right on there, and it pushes right back into the groove where it belongs. Show you. Okay, goes right back on where it came off, and now when the tire or the rim goes back on there, it'll hold it and keep any moisture from getting in there, supposedly. All right, now we're going to reinstall our mounting bracket, and the way you do that is just put it on over the brake pads. You can squeeze the brake pads in to hold it in place, and we're going to reinstall the bolts in the back that we previously took out. Next, we're going to look up the torque specs on this, and we're going to torque these hold-down bolts to the proper foot-pounds. All right, so let's do that, and we'll come right back. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take the brake pads, the ones I didn't install from the other side yet. We're going to take our caliper, just lay the caliper up. Lots of different tools to do this. Some people use a C-clamp. I don't like the C-clamp because the pistons on the calipers today are made of plastic. You don't want to break them. I use this, and this is actually goes in there, and it pushes the brake pads back. I'm sorry, pushes the pistons back into the bore, so that you'll be able to get it back over the new brake pads without a problem. Take the brake pads out because we were just using them to push it in, and then what we're going to do is we're going to mount we're going to put the caliper back onto the knuckle. Now, make sure that your brake line is not twisted. I've seen a lot of guys put it on already with the brake lines all twisted up like this. That's not good. You have to put it back on so that there's no twist in them. All right, put it on like that over the brake pads. And you just push in on the sliders, and it pops right back into place. Then we're going to take the screws and put the screws back in there. And you're going to do it only by hand. Touch them by hand first. Let me just show you one thing real quick. When you put these back in there, you've got to be careful down here. Let me just go in there. You see these pieces here on the sliders? You have to make sure that the flat part is down on the bottom here, and that the flat part fits up against right there. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to get these screws in there, and you're not going to be able to get them in, because these pieces here can only go one way. They have to go right up against the top flat part right there. Alright, so let me tighten it up. Remember, always do it by hand. Get it down as far as you can by hand, and then tighten it up. Next, after we tighten the bolts down, we're going to come back up here with our torque wrench, and we're going to torque everything to the proper foot-pounds and then we'll be pretty much all set and this job will be done. Let me just show you again. All right, we have our mounting bolts tight here. We tightened up the other bolts in the back down over here that hold the mounting bracket to the car. We put that O-ring back on the rotor itself, and that's it. Our brake line is not twisted. It's nice and straight, so you know you didn't twist it by accident. And that's it. Now we're going to go around the other side, and we'll put that together, and we'll be all set. As you can see, doing the brakes is really not that difficult if you follow the step-by-step procedure. As always, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.